everybody, this is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat here at Levi Stadium, where the 49ers are going to look to secure a playoff spot in the NFC playoffs when they face the Houston Texans this afternoon at Levi Stadium. A win over Houston, coupled with the New Orleans Saints loss to the Carolina Panthers this afternoon as well, would put the 49ers into the playoffs for the first time since 2019. All signs point to the 49ers being without starting quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo suffered a third-degree sprain to the ulnar collateral ligament of his right thumb late in the first half of the 49ers' 2017 loss to Tennessee last Thursday. And that means without Garoppolo going, it would be Trey Lance making his second career start for the 49ers here in 2021. That isn't official yet, but that should be here in about the next hour when the 49ers have to announce their actives and inactives for today. Lance would be making, as I said, his second start of the season, having started a Week 5 loss at the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's take a look at the 5 questions that I have for today's game. Number 1, and this is the big one, will Kyle Shanahan adjust the game plan he used with Trey Lance when they took on Arizona? It's going to be interesting to see whether Shanahan keeps that same offensive formula that's been successful for the 49ers during the stretch of games when they've been able to win 6 of their last 9. Or is he going to go back to what he did the last time Lance started? If you remember that game, quite frankly, Shanahan treated Trey Lance like a running back against Arizona. Lance carried the ball 16 times for 89 yards. Of those 16 carries, 12 were designed quarterback runs. This plan was not very effective for a 49ers offense. It struggled throughout the game with penalties and was unable to convert 4 times on 4th down. That was a big key to the 49ers' loss against Arizona there in Week 5. Lance also suffered a knee injury that would keep him out of action the following week against Indianapolis, and we wouldn't even see him on the field again until the 49ers' victory at Jacksonville late in that game. The San Francisco offense has changed a great deal, though, since that Week 5 game. Deebo Samuel has become more active in the running game. In the backfield, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jermichael Hasty, Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell give the 49ers a healthy stable of running backs, and George Kittle has been on the top of his game since returning Week 9 from injury. Facing a Texans defense which has allowed the fourth most net yards per pass in the NFL this season, Lance should find some success through the air today if he plays well within the 49ers system. I would expect that. The one thing to keep an eye on when it comes to the Houston defense, although they give up a lot of yards per pass, they are very good at taking the ball away, and we'll get to that here in a little bit as we go through the keys for the game. Number 2, will the 49ers commit to running the football? That kind of seems like a no-brainer, considering the fact that you would have Trey Lance making, like I said, only his second start. But if you remember, go back again. In that game against Arizona, it was pretty much just Trey Lance and a lot of throwing. The 49ers, other than Lance, I think it was only it was under 10 carries for the other running backs in that game. So definitely something to keep an eye on this week. Prior to the upset victory over the Rams, Kyle Shanahan made it his goal for the team to go out and run the ball at least 40 times. That was a team-wide goal, something that the offense and defense were having to work together on to try to achieve, and the 49ers were able to hit that number, running the ball 42 times in that upset victory over the Rams. They came back the next week and hit 42 again against Jacksonville, and then the week after that, when they came back to Levi Stadium, the 49ers were able to run the ball 39 times in a big victory over the Minnesota Vikings. So this is the type of game in which the San Francisco needs to get back to that team goal. Houston struggled against teams that run the ball all season long, allowing the 6th most yards per rush while holding their opponents under 100 yards only 3 times in 15 games. So big day for the 49ers on the ground. Should be, if they can sustain that and really make that a focal point, the 49ers should be able to dominate this game. Number 3, can San Francisco keep the Texans running game under wraps? The Texans last week had a big game against the Los Angeles Chargers. They had over 150 yards rushing. Rex Burkhead led the Texans in that game with 149 yards. Over the season, Burkhead also leads the Texans in rushing with 356 yards on 94 attempts. But as I mentioned, 149 of those came just last week against Los Angeles. Also, when you look at the Texans, they've only been able to go as a team over 100 yards 3 times this season, and their team average per rush attempt is only 3.4 yards. That's second worst in the league. So this week, when you look at it, I talked about Burkhead a little bit. Other than Burkhead, no other back on the Texans roster has been able to even average over 3.5 yards per carry. They just have not been good in that area. In fact, things became so bad for Houston last week that cornerback Tremon Smith was called upon to run the ball against the Chargers. So after a shaky start to the season, San Francisco's run defense, though, has been solid of late. And this unit's going to be without, even though it's going to be without Azeez Al-Shaair, they're still going to have Fred Warner. And I would think that they should have the firepower to be able to shut down Atlanta here, just like they did 2 weeks ago against Atlanta when Al-Shaair was sidelined. Number 4, and this gets to a local guy. Will the 49ers pass defense get to Davis Mills? If the 49ers defense can shut down the run, moving the Texans offense is going to fall into the shoulders of rookie Davis Mills. Houston selected the former Stanford quarterback in the 3rd round, but San Francisco had looked at him well before trading up to the 3rd pick. As Kyle Shanahan said, we evaluated him a good amount, especially with him being a local guy, and we were very impressed with him. Very good football player, can throw the ball well. I know he battled through injuries coming out. He's gotten his opportunity, and he looks the part. He's done a hell of a job for them. Mills comes into this contest on a hot streak, having thrown for 794 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 1 interception over the last 3 games, while also completing 67% of his passes. One of the reasons for Mills' recent success, he hasn't been hit. The lack of pressure has really helped them out. Over the last 3 weeks, opposing defenses have been able to record only 4 sacks on Mills. That's among the best in the league over that short stretch. And for the 49ers this week, they need to have Nick Bosa and the rest of that pass rush step up. That group last week really struggled against Tennessee. I know they came away with 4 sacks, or a number of sacks there, but they really couldn't generate much of a pass rush and gave up a number of third and long situations, and they weren't able to get to the quarterback. And the Texans were able to pick them apart and convert those 3rd downs. So that's really something the 49ers are going to need to do this week. I was a big fan, too, really quick, just kind of stepping back. I was a big fan of Davis Mills in the run up to the draft. Did some scouting on him and looked at some of his college film from Stanford. Was really impressed with what he was able to do. The one thing that I took away from it while watching him was, he had a lot of really nice traits. There was a lot of good things to like about him, just that the lack of experience was an issue. And then the other thing that I noticed with Mills when he was at Stanford was he just have some Jimmy Garoppolo type moments, for a lack of a better term. Just some of those what the heck is he doing kind of plays, and those would happen about 2 or 3 times a game. So it'll be interesting to see today if the 49ers are able to force him into some of those moments, and really that would help the 49ers out immensely in this game. And last but not least, number 5, can the 49ers hold on to the football? This is the, again, we talk about a lot of different things, but for the 49ers, this is the stat, and this is the stat for this game as well. This is the one thing to keep your eye out on. There's been a lot of talk about Houston's recent surge, which included a couple of big wins over top teams in Tennessee and Los Angeles. But the Texans' other 2 victories this season came against Jacksonville. So even though they have 4 wins on the season, 2 of them are against pretty good teams, and the other 2 are against a lowly Jacksonville team that's fired their head coach and is about ready to fire their general manager. But when you look at those victories for Houston over Tennessee and Los Angeles, the one thing that you need to you recognize right away, if you look at at what happened in those games, Houston forced 8 turnovers. They didn't give up the ball at all. And of those 8 turnovers, 6 of them were interceptions and 2 were fumbles. So, coming into this game, it's really, if Trey Lance is the starter as we expect, the impetus, and it's going to be all on him to make sure that he plays within the structure of the offense, holds onto the ball, does kind of what he did at North Dakota State. Don't turn it over. Just play within the structure. Do what you know how to do. Don't take any unnecessary risks if you don't have to, and just let the talent of your side of the ball win out. Because the 49ers come into this game, they're a much better team than Houston overall. And if the 49ers are able to come into this game, not turn the ball over, I see them coming out of here with a victory of 10 plus points. Some are probably in the neighborhood of 10 to 15, just to keep it, to give you an exact number, but it's definitely going to be more than 10. And my prediction for today is that the 49ers are going to win by a score of 26-16. That's the prediction that I have for today. So let's see real quick if there was any questions in the comments before I sign off for the day. This is a game. Victor says that he thinks that the 49ers are going to squeak by with a field goal, 20-17. The 49ers are a much better team. The 49ers, only scored 10 points against a really good Arizona team, which is much better than what they're going to be facing today. And in that game, they shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. You can't even, as Trent Williams said, told us this week, you can't really even blame that loss on Trey Lance. Lance played a really good game. The 49ers offense should have scored way more than 10 points in that game. It should have been around 20, like you said here. So to think that the 49ers are only going to score 20 today, I think it's going to be a little bit more than that. And the only reason I even stay at 60 is because I think the 49ers are going to get ahead. It's going to be a lot of running, which is going to generate, take a lot of time off the clock. And so the number of total plays that they can do, they can run is going to be down a little. You're going to have a high number of plays, but they're not going to have as many possessions. So time of possession would definitely favor them, and that's why we say 26-16. But it might be more than that. Let's see what else there is real quick. Hey, look at that. Tommy joins and he says, Matthew Stafford's trash, 2 picks already. And he's got a pick 6. Hey, that's great for the Rams. Congratulations. This is one of the things that I love about the whole 49ers fan base this year and some of the things that we've been seeing with regards to Jimmy Garoppolo. We know the issues that Jimmy Garoppolo has. Jimmy Garoppolo is not Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and he makes plays like this on a regular. He has games like this on a regular basis. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Rams as they go through the rest of the season. And, one of the big reasons a lot of 49er fans didn't want Matthew Stafford to come to the 49ers was because of his mistakes that he makes and the fact that he hadn't been very successful in the postseason. So we'll see how that plays out for the Rams here in a couple of weeks, maybe even start next week when the 49ers travel down there for Week 18. Let's see what else we've got here. That looks like it's about it for today. It doesn't look like we have very many other questions, but I just wanted to jump on. Trey Lance is expected to start. Like I said, there should be an announcement here probably in the next 45 minutes. Usually about an hour, 90 minutes prior to game is when we get the inactive report. And I would expect to see Jimmy Garoppolo's name on that from all reports that we've seen. Just nothing official yet from the 49ers, but as soon as that comes out, you'll hear about that. If you could, throughout the day today, throughout the game, get yourself over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. Once again, that's 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. I will have a live blog going with analysis and updates throughout the day, throughout the game. So get over there, check that out. And there's a fun group of people over there that you can comment with as well, and you can leave comments, and it should be a good time. And if you can make that one of your favorites on your browser, so that you can hit that on a daily basis, that would be fantastic as well. But expect it's Trey Lance day today. That's what we're expecting here. Definitely a little bit of more energy around Levi Stadium today than there's been for every game this year, with the exception of that Rams Monday night game. So looking forward to see what Trey Lance does. For me, my thing is I just want to see Trey Lance show some improvement over where he was in Week 5. If he does that, that's good enough for me. And I also want to see the 49ers be able to come out on top and hopefully secure a playoff berth, because it'd be fun to be able to go cover a playoff game. So just everybody enjoy the day, enjoy your Sunday, and we'll be back with you after the game with a full report. Take care, everybody.